The afternoon of June 12th, 2025. At Ahmedabad International Airport, everything seemed ordinary. Temperatures were peaking near 40 degrees Celsius. The sky was clear, and Air India Flight 171 was preparing for takeoff. It was a Boeing 787 Dreamliner operated by Air India and owned by Tata Group since 2022 privatization. The flight was scheduled to depart for London Gatwick with 230 passengers and 12 crew members on board. The passengers included tourists, families, students, and professionals. Some were heading to reunite with loved ones, and others were traveling for work or education. For them, this was just another long journey, but it would never be completed. Flight 171 took off at approximately 1:38 p.m. local time. Within seconds, air traffic control noticed something strange. The aircraft wasn't gaining altitude as expected. Then came a distressing call from a cockpit, Mayday. For those unfamiliar with the term, Mayday is the most urgent emergency signal pilot can send. It comes from the French phrase mates, meaning help me. When a pilot repeats it 3 times, Mayday, 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 it signals a life-threatening emergency and a call for immediate assistance from air traffic control and emergency responders. But in this case, there wasn't enough time. Moments later, the aircraft plunged into a 4-story hostel building less than 2 kilometers from the runway. The explosion shook the ground, sending black smoke spiraling into the air and shattering windows miles away. The building housed over 50 medical students, 29 of whom were sadly died instantly. Those students were not traveling, they were not at the airport, they were not taking the risk, they were simply going about their day, studying, eating and playing, and yet their building stood directly in the path of crashing aircraft they never saw coming. These were not passengers, they were victims of a flight they had no connection to, and somehow that part of the tragedy hasn't received the attention it deserves. Of the 242 people on board the aircraft, 241 lost their lives, only one man survived. His name is Vishwas Ramesh, a 40-year-old British national seated in 11A. Rescuers find him stunned, cut, but conscious.
Emergency door is broken, my seat is broken, then I see the page little bit, then I will try to come out.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why.
So, did the aircraft catch fire before you came out?
Yes,
Okay.
a little bit fire, after me, I'm out, then blast.
His seat had broken loose from the floor during the impact, possibly cushioning him from the final blow. He was pulled from the wreckage less than 15 minutes after the crash with burns, a fractured wrist. Later, in a hospital bed, he recalled only fragments. A strange sound during takeoff, a loud alert tone, and then the world flipping upside down.
For a short period, I thought I was going to die too. But when my eyes opened, I saw I was alive. I tried from my seat to take the belt off where I could. I tried and I got out of there.
But Vishwas wasn't the only one who narrowly escaped death that day. 28-year-old Bhumi Chauhan had a confirmed ticket for flight 171, seat 36G. But she never boarded. Stuck in traffic in old Ahmedabad, she arrived at the airport just 10 minutes too late. She cried, she pleaded, but the boarding was sealed.
मैक्सिमम उन लोगों का गेट बंद हो जाता है और हमें वहाँ पे पहुँचते ही एक 12:20 हो गया था, तो मतलब 10 मिनट की लेट पहुँची थी, उसकी वजह से मैं फ़्लाइट पे चेक इन ही नहीं कर पाई और उन लोगों ने मुझे वापस ही भेज दिया, तो इस वजह से मेरी फ़्लाइट मिस हो चुकी थी.
Heartbroken, she left the airport thinking she would just lost a day. Hours later, she realized she had narrowly escaped losing her life. Shortly after the crash, Indian civil aviation authorities confirmed the disaster. The nation mourned. It was India's deadliest aviation incident in more than a decade. But even as grief set in, so did the questions. What went wrong? And could it have been prevented? Initial footage from CCTV and mobile cameras revealed something unusual. That landing gear, the wheels that are retracted shortly after takeoff, were still extended. In commercial aviation, retracting the gear happens automatically or manually within seconds of liftoff. But in this case, they stayed down. Aviation experts describe it as flying with the parking brake on. This caused massive aerodynamic drag, forcing the engines to work harder, especially in Ahmedabad's extreme heat where hot air reduces engine power and lift. This wasn't the only issue. Investigators suspected that flap, the movable parts on the wings that helps generate lift during takeoff, may have been improperly configured. If not set correctly, the aircraft struggles to gain altitude. On a cooler day, this might not have been critical. But combined with this intense heat and the gear is still extended, it creates a deadly scenario. 90 seconds after takeoff, the Dreamliner stalled, tilted left and crashed. This aircraft was relatively new. Pilots were experienced. The captain alone had logged more than 8,000 flying hours. So why did such basic error happen? So far, no official evidence has been released about any mechanical failures prior to takeoff. Some earlier rumors mentioned postponed repairs to a fuel tank sensor, but those reports remain unverified and have not appeared in any confirmed maintenance logs. The aircraft's flight data recorder, known as the black box, was recovered. It stores technical parameters like altitude, airspeed, and engine status. But the cockpit voice recorder, which captures pilot communication and alarm, was missing. Without it, investigators are left to piece together the final moments from the data and damage patterns alone. The crash has prompted broader consequences. India's aviation regulator DGCA ordered inspections of all Boeing 787s in India fleets. Boeing and GE Aerospace, which make the Dreamliner and its engine, sent technical team to assist. The US National Transportation Safety Board and the UK Air's Accident Investigation Branch are also involved. As more evidence emerges, one thing is clear. This wasn't just a tragic twist of destiny. It was the result of a chain of preventable failures. Technical, human, and managerial. Landing gear not retracted, flaps likely misconfigured, a cockpit that may have been distracted, overwhelmed, or short on time, and an airline juggling growth with workload. We may never know exactly what was said in the cockpit, but we know what wasn't done. Simple checks, routine steps were missed. And because of that, 241 people died, most within moments of leaving the ground. And while risk is part of every journey, whether walking, cycling, driving, or flying, those students in the hostel were not even on a journey. They were at home in a place that should have been safe. That's what makes this tragedy even harder to understand. So many of the lives lost never even made it to the runway. For now, the investigation continues. The final report is expected within 1 to 2 years. Until then, all we can do is remember those who were lost, support those left behind, and hope that the lessons learned are written into every checklist, every training program, and every maintenance schedule in the aviation world. Because in aviation, there are no small mistakes, only small windows of time to fix them. And on June 12th, that window closed far too soon. Meanwhile, families of the victims remain devastated. Air India, along with its parent company Tata, offered interim compensation of 2.5 million Indian rupees. In addition, Tata announced a further 10 million Indian rupees as a final settlement. But lawyers in both India and UK have advised families to wait. If the final investigation confirms maintenance failures or procedural lapses, legal action could result in far greater compensation. For now, the questions remain, but so does the memory of those lost. The students, the travelers, the crew, and one man who lived to tell the story, and one woman who missed the flight will never look at time or life the same way again.